have to provide specific information.
At the meeting. Oh, okay.
So
We had
it could be-
scripts.
They could either Zoom or they could demo.
Gotcha.
So that's why they were way uncommon and then they just came like, they're anything about by Zoom.
We don't have a quorum yet, there is still getting.
No.
Yeah, but it's live.
No, I wish they fix that, because that's what we were trying to do, reach with legislators, I don't know. First time that happened, I just said, let's
We're
read
gonna go ahead
it.
and start this.
Yeah, that's like this. Oh, you gotta power itself on.
I'll start this recording going just so don't send us a
Alright.
Yeah, those jokes are texted, he's not gonna make it.
Okay.
There's a room down by Boulder there.
All right. 4:30, I'll call the August 14th, 2025 meeting of the Library Board of Trustees meeting to order. And with that call to order, forum for visitors. Do we have anybody who has signed up as a visitor? Correspondence is making its way around. We appreciate all of that feedback on how much our community appreciates our libraries and the services that it provides. We'll get right into the consent agenda. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Same sign opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, governance. The general obligation bond financing. First item. Have my documents out of order. Recommendation of the Building and Grounds Committee. After a comprehensive review of the options, taking into consideration the cost estimates provided by MKM and the recommendation of the EVPL admin, it is the recommendation of the Building and Grounds Committee that EVPL Board of Trustees approve a rebuild of EVPL Red Bank on the current site and bond for $12 million. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5B and 5B1, hearing on the additional appropriation. The Secretary has presented proof of publication of notice to taxpayers of hearing on the matter of additional appropriation proposed to be made on account of the construction of a replacement Red Bank branch. In this form of affidavit of publication in the Evansville Courier and Press on August 31st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion on this.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none, that motion carried. Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed. That motion does carry. And the additional appropriation hearing. The library is funding this project through the issuance of general obligation bonds. State law requires all governmental units to hold an additional appropriation hearing anytime the governmental unit will receive dollars, which were not included in their annual budget. The bond proceeds are considered to be dollars received outside of the budget, and therefore the library must hold an additional appropriation hearing. Notice of this hearing was advertised and presented by the secretary. I will entertain a motion now to open the meeting up to the public for a hearing on the use of the bond proceeds for the project.
Second.
Motion and a second. The hearing is now open. If you are interested in speaking at this hearing, please provide your name and address on the form located with Lori. And this is an opportunity for the public to make comments about the additional appropriation and limited only to the proposed appropriation of the bond proceeds. If there is anyone from the public who has filled out the form and would like to speak. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing on the additional appropriation. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. So the hearing is now closed. Now we have the additional appropriation resolution. After this hearing on the additional appropriation, the board must approve the appropriation of the bond proceeds to be spent on the project costs before any bond money may be expended. Unlike appropriation of tax dollars, this additional appropriation of bond proceeds is not required to be approved by the Department of Local Government Finance. I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution of additional appropriation.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion carries. Item 5C, final bond resolution. Ice Miller's bond counsel on the general obligation bond of $12 million has been consulted relative to the procedures to be followed in connection with the proposed bond issue and the rendering of an opinion approving the legality of the bond. The final bond resolution has been approved by Ice Miller and recommended by them for adoption for the purposes of authorizing issuance of the bonds. This final bond resolution establishes the amount to be borrowed, maximum term of the repayment, and maximum interest rate. It also contains the details about the bonds, such as the form of the bond. The resolution also authorizes the publication of the notice of sale of the bonds and establishes the maximum cost an underwriter or bank may bid for the bonds. It also establishes a bid committee who will lower the bonds to the lowest bidder. This resolution also approved the form of the third supplement to master continuing disclosure undertaking and the registered paying agent agreement. The Securities and Exchange Commission requires that a library enter into a master continuing disclosure undertaking before it issues bonds. The library has entered into this type of agreement with the previous 3 bond issuances. It basically requires that the library agree to annually provide certain types of financial information to the SEC's EVPL database and provide notice of certain material events on a timely basis. I will now entertain a motion to approve the final bond resolution.
So moved.
Question first. We'll ask questions once we get it on the table.
So moved.
Motion and second, discussion, questions?
Where does the city council fit on this? So the next step?
You already did that?
The city council's already approved.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor of the final bond resolution? Aye. Same sign opposed? And that motion carries as well. So are we at 5C1?
No, we're at 5D.
5D, ISL Consortium for E-rate Internet Access. I am happy to turn this over to Brett Shelhorn, Director of IT.
Okay, standing up here so I can be on camera. Each year we get this consortium agreement. I asked the board for us to belong to it because this gives us a discount on our internet connection and LAN connection. If we don't agree to join this consortium, there's 4 criteria listed: filtering, budgeting of the non-E-rate services, assuming financial responsibility for non-E-rate portion, and working with AdTech to file our E-rate paperwork. I asked the board that we join this consortium to receive our discount.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve this.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions for Brett?
Is there any cost associated with it? There is no cost. It's just a cost savings for us if we join this through the state.
Sounds like a winner. All right. No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion carries. And Brett?
I do need the form signed, and since you voted aye, please sign on the right side, and then do the secretary twice.
Secretary signs twice.
Yeah.
And Brett, you also have item 5E, which is annual internet policy renewal.
This policy is the same as was last year. I am required to present this to the board. It talks about we warranty for our internet access, whether it's on public computer or wireless to get on our network. We talk about copyright, how we want everybody to abide by copyright rules to get on our network from the public network and staff, of course, but this pertains to public. It also talks about privacy, how we take it seriously, and our best being privacy about customer. And also discusses filtering, how we're required to filter with the Children's Internet Protection Act, which is part of every requirement for E-rate. We also put that in this policy. I'm required to present this every year as part of the E-rate process for us to continue to get our and to be in compliance with the state requirements. And I just ask that you've looked at this and you're okay with this policy. You don't have to sign anything, but it's your opportunity to ask questions about the policy.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be readopted?
It does,
It
you
does.
just don't have to sign
You
it.
just don't- yeah.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to renew this policy. A motion and a second. Any questions for Brett or comments? And assuming since nothing's marked, that it hasn't changed since.
It's not changed. They do review it each year, but it's not changed this time.
Okay. No further questions. All those in favor? Same sign opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
And now I will turn items 6, financial report, over to Lori.
So in your packet, I did print out on some colorful paper, each of the different, items that we'll be covering, in our first reading of our budgets for 2026. First, before I do that, though, I would like to welcome, George Carter, the director of Willard, who's joined us this afternoon. And if we have any questions, or you have questions about Willard, he'd probably be able to answer them a little bit better than I could, when we get to that part of it. It's inside of you.
Oh.
Yep, all of that on the left. So the first thing that was in your packet was the budget calendar for 2026. That's been approved. We're moving along through that as scheduled. The next item then that I would cover is the tan color sheet, which is the comparison of the 2025 approved budget to the proposed 2026 budgets. As you can see, we had a small incremental overall increase to those 5 budgets of less than 1%. Even though the maximum growth quotient for 2026 is 4%. Our goal was to sustain our operations at a level, our appropriations at a level of operations without increasing our overall budget. The county as well has tried to flatline, if you want to call it that, or have minimal increases so that we can prepare for the next coming years, 2 to 3 years, as the recent Senate bill enacted as of July 1st, Senate Bill 1. So as you can see, there, the library operating fund, our bond interest and redemption fund, which is based on our bond repayments. Our library improvement reserve fund, we did increase a little bit, so that we had the ability to offset any operational expenses that might come our way and technology wise for 2026. And then of course, rainy days for that rainy day, but also again, it helps us out if we have something that we didn't put in our operations budget for next year. And then the special library fund is Willard's account, and they also had a very incremental, a small increase in their overall budget. So again, for 2026, we're looking at a 0.9% increase for all 5 budgets. The next sheets are white, and that's a breakdown of our operating budget. You can see based on our categories, the personnel services, benefits, we are down or a decrease of 0.78% or a little over 0.75%. And then our supplies did go up because again, we're experiencing inflational expenses in our supplies, namely our printer cartridges, ink cartridges we're still seeing increases in those. So we want to make sure we have the ability to provide the services that our public wants, because that's not just staff printers, that's also our public printers. And then the next, the bottom of the first page, all of the second page, and the top of the third page are all services broken down by the different types of categories they're in. The only thing I might point out is under at the bottom of the first page, we did increase our other e-resource formats, which is our streaming of movies, music, anything through Canopy, through Hoopla, that does not include books on CD or audiobooks themselves. So that's just the streaming services, and we're seeing an uptick in usage on those, so we want to make sure we're accounting for the use of that. And then we have on the second page towards the bottom under utilities, normally we've been keeping our utility budget pretty even and from year to year just carrying forward the exact amount that we budget from the prior years. But with all the rate increases and hikes, and especially our electricity, we had to increase that to ensure we did not overspend in our utilities next year with CenterPoint. But again, we can always adjust between the 4 different types of utilities that are listed there if we need to when it comes to year end. And then on the 4th page, we increased our furniture capital outlays. We had decreased that significantly over the past 3 years as we were doing renovations, knowing that we would have new furniture and fixtures as we were doing those renovations. But as we're wrapping up, and I know we're getting ready to start Oak Glen and Red Bank, all the bond documents go through, but we still have other locations and that we need to make sure that in places that we're not touched, that we can ensure that we have funds available for that, for those areas. And then we did decrease our non-print materials by the 20,000. We increased our streaming by, so that's where we got the 20,000 to cover that increase. So overall, it's about a 16%, did I say 16% increase? 0.16%, 16% of 1%. So we kept everything as flat as possible, and we did take from certain areas to help cover if we needed to increase it. The purple sheets that follow that, I guess I should ask if there's any questions. Purple sheets are just an explanation of those lines, each of those individual lines, and if there's an increase or decrease. And behind the purple sheet is the debt worksheet, and that covers all of our, if you look at the middle column, it says line 15, that is how much we would be making payments for, in our bonds, in 2026. And that does include under anticipated debt service, the lump sum amount that we would be paying out for the 2025 bond. The others are all scheduled out from the prior sale of those 22, 23, and 24 bonds. The yellow sheet is more informational than anything. It is our library improvement reserve fund. And as you can see, our estimated cash and investment balance at the top. And then we still anticipate transferring the $100,000 that was budgeted in our operating fund at the end of the year. And so based on our appropriation balance of $210,000, we have expenditures. Most of those have actually already been paid since it was put together. That leaves us about $52,000 in appropriations to spend. And then at the bottom, you'll see our proposed budget. And that we have substantial or sufficient balance in our cash investments to cover both the end of this year and what we're budgeting for next year.
For the transferred over at the end of the year,
The 100,000, probably in December.
and the 275 would be December 26th.
No, that's the budget for next year. The LERP budget.
Right, but when that be paid into the alert.
So the amount that's budgeted on the white sheet is what we transfer
On that,
if we have the funds.
like at the end of the year.
Yes, in December. But as you see, we only budgeted another $100,000 for 2026. So it'll only be, if we have the funds, we'll transfer another 100,000 at the end of 26. Our rainy day fund is on the green sheet. And again, it shows our cash and investment balance. We don't anticipate at this point in time transferring money in 2026 to rainy day. But again, that will be dependent upon how we end the year. If we have more in income than we do expenses, we can make that transfer, but we never budget for that because we don't know where we'll end the year. And then the appropriation balance, the budget that's remaining in rainy day fund, we at this time don't have definitive or purchase orders issued for any particular item, but out of that balance of that budget, we're looking at potential leases, base renovations for when we start the
Parking equipment.
rebuild at Red Bank. Yes, sorry.
Rebuild Red Bank.
Yes, thank you. We're having some issues with the air handler number 2, which is the second floor of our central public side of our central building. So we're in the process of putting together an RFP to go out to solve that issue. We're not sure exactly how much that will be. The current engineer on the renovation of centrals estimated it could be anywhere from 100 to 130,000. And then we have a small vehicle, one of the parking spaces at our annex next door to Central. And we've sent out an RFQ to local contractors to see how much that will be, and we can get that fixed. And then the other thing that we could be using yet this year is earnest money for the potential Stringtown site acquisition. And again, you can see that we have sufficient cash and investment balance after all is said and done at the end of 2025, in which will also cover our proposed budget for a rainy day next year of $550,000. Any questions? Okay, the last sheet is the blue sheet, and that is the 2026 proposed budget of Willard, who board has also approved this. You can see on the far right-hand column, any increases or decreases by their particular categories and line items. And then at the bottom there, as you saw on that very first page, their 0.18% increase overall for 2026. Any questions from Willard's budget, proposed budget? No? That's all I have for the first reading. Remind everybody, next month is the public hearing of our budget, and it will be back at Central. We'll go through and with the proposed tax levy and tax levy rates for the three funds that are tax levy eligible, which is our operating fund, our bond interest redemption fund, and special library fund, which is Willard.
All right. So we are ready for our report of appropriations.
Our appropriations for the month of July, balance was $8,149,542.80, or approximately 47% of our budget, which is about 5% more than we expended at 12 at a time. So we're at the same place we've been for the majority of 2025 and on track. And then our investment balances for July 31st, 2025 month end for all four funds was $15,640,000. And the Trust Indiana average daily yield for July was 4.2937, or up a little over 0.01, so a 0.1%, a little over 10%. And then the average daily yield year to date was 4.3052, but that was down for the year to date. Actual number, 0.03%.
Okay, that brings us to item number 6D, the approval of bills.
And you'll see in your packet that there is a listing of the various invoices and payrolls. In particular, total invoices were $928,593.42. And the two payrolls were respectively $372,171.86 and $541.26.02. We'd ask that those be approved.
That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed? Motion carries. We are ready for other business. Item number 7A. Order number 5.
All right, and that is me this week. I get to do my best to Lamont Kelsey, our director of facilities, presented to you is a change order in the amount of $30,921, which includes for the central remodel, which includes second floor VAV and T&M work in the amount of $38.74. We also have a credit to remove that for a door that was removed from the passport office, because we deleted that door, in the credit amount of $1,529. We also had a change order as part of this change order, lighting outside the makerspace in the amount of $797 for electrical work and lighting. West Rotunda carpet in the amount of $12,664. Team Zone public computer counter in the amount of $9,792. And browning room wallpaper removal as part of upgrading the browning room in the amount of $5,323. And for the total amount again of $30,921.
Do I have a motion on the change order?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Did we not anticipate carpet in the West Rotunda for almost $13,000?
No, we did anticipate carpet. We upgraded the carpet in there because of the original carpet we put in there once we had colors on the walls and the sound samples come in for what we're using for sound deadening in that room. The pattern did not look right. This is going to be a feature room for us. It will also ultimately most likely become our new public boardroom for you all. And we wanted to make sure that it looked very nice. A lot of that carpet we already had on hand. This is just the additional labor and a little bit more carpet purchase to complete that room.
Big is.
I would say that room is probably, I wish Lamont was here, he would know it off the top of his head. I would say it's 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. It's a round room, so it's hard to do in my head.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign opposed? We're now ready for item number 7B, the Foundation Liaison Report. That's me. The Foundation Board met on July 16th, 2025. We had financial reports, the tax statement Form 990 review, which was the highlight of the meeting, and outreach and book sale. The financial statement, total assets of the foundation are just over 1.1 million, and with checking and savings accounts and the Charles Schwab investment account. The liabilities and net assets are $13,173.95 that are owing, which includes some special project funding for the library and programming contributions. I will spare you the tax form 990 review, but I will point out that on August 2nd and 3rd, we had the Washington Square book sale, which is always the largest sale of the year and a fantastic time for those folks who do volunteer and work for that. Probably, according to Eric Wire, the president of the Foundation Board, about 95% of picture books, juvenile fiction, young adult, mystery, large type, all that, they sold out. Probably 75% of everything else, so it was a good, solid sale, according to Eric. The Saturday crowd was excellent. Many teachers took home large volumes of books in grade school ages all 3 days. There were countless people packing out boxes and boxes of books, if you were there. Becca did a great job on promoting it. 44 came on Saturday. Teachers definitely appreciated getting the invites and the discounts. So he said the t-shirts were a big hit for all the volunteers that were provided that Becca got with her team. And let's see here. Big news is the total net sales for the book for 2 days was $21,339.21, which the foundation will then use to give back to the library and sustain programs and ongoing things. There was 399 free book coupons, which to my understanding are the coupons that are given out for the reading program in the summer. Yep, and Heather's shaking her head like, yes, that's true. So almost 400 of those went out, so that's fantastic. Shows that the summer program was very successful and people showed up and they appreciate getting those free books. One other shout out I want to give, and Eric did too in his note to everyone, was Emily has been my whole time doing it, and I don't know how far back Emily goes with volunteering, putting these book sales together and getting volunteers coordinated. But she's been training Danielle Cohen to do that. And Danielle did a fantastic job. It was, from a volunteer standpoint, it was seamless. Everybody went together. As a matter of fact, on Sunday, closing it down, we had so many volunteers that by 4 o'clock, it was all done. So if there are any questions or anything about that, if anybody wants to see the tax form statement, they can see me after the meeting. See Lori after the meeting. That tax form is something else. But, all right. That's the liaison report, and we are ready for the staff spotlight, which is Joshua Arno from EVPL Red Bank here.
Hello,
Thank
everybody.
you for hosting us, Josh.
Is it okay if I stand here?
You want to stand over here so you can be seen
Okay.
anywhere behind the table.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. It's Thank you, Faces. My name is Joshua Bernard. I'm the manager here at Red Bank. I've been with EVPL since 2023, and I've been here at Red Bank for about a month. Do pretty typical managerial duties here. I work on daily operations, schedule, and making sure that we can present a resource-rich and welcoming environment to our patrons. With today's vote, I've got a lot to look forward to. I know that we're going to get a rebuild, and with the staff and patrons, I'm looking forward to being part of the next chapter of Red Bank and see what happens as it goes. Not much else to say, but I would say thank you for your support and your trust as we do this. Thank you.
Thank you for hosting us.
Anytime. Yeah. Thank you.
Now, does Joshua know about the, actually has to have food and drink for us afterward?
I think that might be located at Dairy Queen or.
Other announcements?
Just when we were here early for this meeting, the staff are very, very excited about this new location rebuild. They just can't wait, and they know that there'll be a transition time where we go into a temporary building, but they are really excited to get going. So again, as Joshua said, thank you for your support. I wanted to remind you of the open house tomorrow night to celebrate North Park's reopening. Our celebration of their renovation. Also I wanted to point out all of the great handouts again that the marketing team has provided. And if you look close at those, it shows you all of the brochures that have been translated into Spanish, Marshallese, and Haitian Creole. So we are supporting our diverse communities here in Evansville and with our core information. And with that, that's what we have.
Speaking of open houses, saw Nancy here come in, and I ran into Nancy and team at Dexter's Open House. Nothing like libraries and schools supporting each other, and I know that they were at many of the open houses supporting our schools. So that's much appreciated from the schools side and from the library side. So thank you to everyone. And I run into folks all the time at things in the park. This event, that event, library's got a table there. It's fantastic to see. So other announcements, anything
We
else?
have a lot of staff that sit on site councils. Every EVSC school that asks us, we try to put it on that. So it's a not seen portion, but a lot of our public services staff go to those site councils for the schools.
Yeah.
Keep that connection going.
Awesome. Other matters to come before the board? I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So.
There we go.